You're watching FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. We're at Surfaces 2019, and I'm in the Crossville space with Lindsey Waldrep, the Vice President of Marketing. Lindsey, how you doing?
I'm well, Kemp. Thanks so much for coming by.
Yeah, it's good to be with you. Once again, your space is very unique, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Let's catch up first. Most people know Crossville Tile, a little bit of the inverse of a lot of tile companies. More of your business comes from the commercial side than the residential side, almost 80-20. And so the looks that you have are the types that designers are looking for because they like to interject their own style, and you give them the components to do that, right?
Definitely. We kind of live in a world right now of residential where there is no distinct product for one or the other, but the point of it, everything for the designer, is to have the tools that he or she needs to create their vision. It's not necessarily up to me. So we have a relatively new product development team at Crossville over the last couple of years who've been doing a great job at developing mix and match products that work well with one another for that designer and their needs.
So let's talk about 18. How did your year go for 2018?
18 was competitive, and I like a good challenge. I do, and I think there's some really, really great product in the industry overall right now, and some really imaginative things. When you go to a show like Surfaces or later on to Coverings, you get to see the best that the industry has to offer, and we all get inspired. That said, I think that Crossville has been doing an incredible job with what we do well. We did our annual designer survey, which we do every other year, to designers that have worked with Crossville before in our database, but also IIDA and readers of Interior Design magazine. And we were, pardon the pun, floored by the results.
Good results.
They were great results. Our Net Promoter Score, which is basically if you would recommend a brand to a peer, has gone through the roof. Our brand awareness, unaided, is equal with the mega brands in the industry. And so we've done a really great job in this competitive landscape of getting the word out of who we are and what we do really well. So I'm excited about that.
Well, that's fantastic. So to your target audience, the specifiers, that are specifying commercial products, you scored right up there with the company that has 42% market share.
We sure did.
Yeah. And by the way, you are number 2, but the gap between you two of you is a pretty big one.
They do a great job, and I'm not going to say anything disparaging because there's absolutely no need to. We fill 2 different niches. I think what was great to see, though, is that Crossville and what we do and how we service the designer, they felt just as good about working with Crossville, the number 2 brand, as they did about working with the number 1 brand sales volume-wise. So we can pat ourselves on the back and feel really good about that.
And with A&D, it's not just what it looks like, but it's the service and how you work with them.
It is. Our technical service team is the best in the industry. The amount of time that they spend educating and working with designers and installers is amazing. Their energy is always astounding. We do over 30 plant tours a year in Tennessee, and that tech team is always on hand at every single plant tour to talk about things such as how do you work with your installer on panels with the new large format sizes? What do we have to say about grout joints? Let's work with all of the installation method companies and folks out there that are making the thin set on what's best for new materials. They are an active part of the industry, and they're willing and available to share that knowledge.
Well, and kudos to Noah Chitty. I mean, he's fantastic, so that's a big part of it. So let's talk about, we're sitting here on these steps because we want to show what this is right here. This could actually be a countertop, or it could be what it is here, a surface for steps, or it could be a wall or a ceiling, and that's kind of what you're talking about, right?
So I think the great thing about Crossville is, we were the first tile manufacturer in Tennessee, the first one in the United States to make large format. And people know us as being a tile manufacturer, but in the last 5 years, we've done a lot of dramatically different things in the industry, such as being the main player to bring in porcelain tile panels, so big tile, thin tile, whatever you want to call it, but panels into the United States, to now venturing into porcelain countertops, slabs that are even bigger, which is what we're actually sitting on, or you could use it as a table, as a counter. So we're bringing that in. We're so much more than the floor now. The Crossville product line, from the traditional porcelain that we make in Tennessee now to our new countertop program, brings the design community endless possibilities of what you can work with, what you can play with, and how you have fun designing with space with it.
You know, a lot of people that make those big panels, they make them look like big, huge slabs of marble, and I know you can do that, but sometimes people just want pure white, like, the kitchen cabinets today. So looking at this, you guys are on top of your game here when it comes to this product.
We did. We've got a super bright white. We have two very deep veined blacks. And then my personal favorite in our countertop line are 3 SKUs that work with our notorious porcelain tile line. This is not a line that we just picked and choose from someone else. These looks were specially created for Crossville with our partnership with Laminum. And so these 3 SKUs of Notorious look like concrete, which I think is a beautiful countertop material, but it stains, it cracks, it's porous, it has to be sealed, and so on and so forth. You take it outside and it gets pitted by the weather. Porcelain doesn't do any of that. So you get that fabulous look, this very modern industrial chic look with none of the maintenance hassle. So that's exciting.
All right, I know you've got a new product on the floor and you've got a new concrete look here on the wall. Talk about that.
We do. We launched Astral Plane this past summer. It is 4 SKUs, largest being 24 by 24. There's 12 by 24, as well as some mosaics in the line and trim. And that is a beautiful, beautiful striated stone look on the floor. And then Reformation is our brand new concrete plank look. And I said plank because the reason it's named Reformation, most people think of concrete that it has to be in squares. And we were showing people this product and they're like, oh, it's so beautiful. And we would say, yeah, don't you love the concrete look? And they're like, whoa, concrete's a square. So this is kind of a paradigm shift of how you think about that. You got to reform your thinking, thus Reformation. It is also 4 colors, so warm and cool neutrals, and comes in a 24 by 36, 12 by 36, and 6 by 36 plank, 2 mosaics, and then 2 trim options. So it's made in Tennessee at our factory, which means it's green squared certified, has a sustainability story to it that people know and love us for.
And why would you imitate concrete? I know the answer to that is because when you're working with concrete, you really know you don't know what you're going to end up with.
You don't.
And with this product, you know exactly what you're going to end up with.
You do. And like we said before, concrete has a maintenance issue. So that sealer can walk or wear off over time. It has to be resealed. If you've got, say, a retail store that has distinct walk patterns through it, it will start to look pitted, worn, and stained in those high traffic areas. So if you love the look of concrete, but you don't want to deal with the maintenance and the hassle of it, porcelain tile's a great way to go with that. And the other thing is that while you can stain concrete into different patterns and things, with tile, you could water jet out a pattern in it to bring it in. You can mix it match with 2 other different tiles, for example, to create that custom design that the designer is looking for that you can't get on a slab. So it gives you a lot more options.
So talk real quick about MC Escher's, what theme of your booth here?
So we did a lot of creative things here. Like I said, more than a floor and endless possibilities. And that took us to an MC Escher quote that says, who says a floor can't also be a ceiling? And that got us to thinking about all of the different products that we offer, and they don't have to be used in the traditional way that we in the tile industry think. So we did get creative. We did take our countertops and build kind of a bleacher surfacing material. We suspended countertops in midair almost instead of having it be on a base. We took tile that had been here in our line for a while and cut tessellations, which are interlocking patterns, out of it. So we have salamanders and pegacorns and even bulldogs on some of the outer walls to get really creative and kind of turn the perception of what Crossville and what you do with tile can be upside down, like the ceiling here with a 3mm panel.
All right, great. It's good to be with you, Lindsey, and thanks for telling us about what's going on with Crossville. Again, been talking to Lindsey Waldrep, the VP of Marketing at Crossville. It surfaces 2019, and you've been watching Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.